awesome guest. I'm sure you know him. He's eating frogs, and he's one of the most famous author and speaker in the world. He's Brian Tracy. He's with me just next to this pool. You will discover him if you don't know him, and he is awesome. Hello, Brian.
Hello, David.
How are you today?
Bienvenue à California.
J'adore la Californie.
Moi también. Yeah. moi aussi.
Moi aussi. You speak Spanish also?
Oui.
Yes. You have a lot of expertise, and before to ask you some questions about what you do now, I would love to know your story, your journey, and how did you become one of the most incredible, awesome leader in this world? How did you start it?
Well, it's very simple. I started off from a poor family with no education, and I began asking, why is it that some people are more successful than others? And I began to ask other people and to read and to study, and I spent my whole life researching the answer to that question. Why are some people more successful? And what we find is that there are specific reasons. And if you do what other successful people do, you get the same results. And if you don't, you don't. And so you can start from anywhere, any background, any nationality. But if you do what other successful people do, like physical fitness or mental fitness, you can soon get the same results.
Great. And do you have a moment where your life changed? Did you have a moment when you decide to follow these advices?
The turning point for me, that moment, was when I was struggling in sales, and I went to a top salesperson and I said, why are you earning 10 times as much as me?
It's a great question.
And he said, show me your sales method and I will give you some advice. I said, I don't have a sales method. He said, well, that's your problem. He said, selling is a science. It's like cooking with a dish in the kitchen or with a recipe. There's a formula to it. If you follow the formula, you make sales, and it has several parts. And if you don't make sales, except by luck.
Wow.
Well, that was the turning point in my life. And this was what I learned, is that you can learn anything you need to learn to achieve any goal you can set for yourself. And I teach that, and I've taught that for more than 30 years. You can learn anything you need to learn to achieve any goal you can set. If you want to become healthy or wealthy or raise happy children or build a successful business, you can learn how, which means there are no limits. And that was the big turning point in my life.
Mm. And did you have some struggles? I'm sure you had, but I would love to that my audience listen to the successful people are not so lucky and had struggles. And can you share me one of your struggles and how you overcame it?
Well, from a very early age, I have been very persistent. And that's really the most important quality, because every successful person fails over and over again. You lose time, you lose money, you take bad jobs, you make bad investments, you start businesses that don't work, or you produce products that don't sell. So I have never thought about failure. And what I learned later was that successful people don't think about failure. If you say, what were your failures? They do not have an answer for you, because they can't think of having a failure.
Just learning.
But successful people have learning experiences. Painful learning experiences, expensive learning experiences. But I can't think of ever having failed. I've only had interesting learning experiences. And if you learn from each experience, you get smarter and smarter. And it's part of the process of education, of learning what you need to learn. It is impossible to succeed without failing first, and usually without failing many times.
And what could be one of the most painful learning you had in your journey, at the beginning of your journey?
Well, you always have to say in what category. Are you talking about relationships or health? Let's talk about money. In business, the biggest mistake I made was producing products or services that did not sell, or producing products and services and not focusing enough energy on selling them. 9 out of 10 mistakes that companies make is they produce a product or service that is not right for the market. And as a result, they lose a lot of time and money. So one of the things we know today is that if you have an idea for a product or service, before you start to spend time and money, you go to a customer and you say, I have this idea for this product or service, would you buy it at this price? And find out, get a customer's opinion immediately. And that will tell you yes or no. And that's what Steve Jobs did, and that's what Bill Gates did. That's what all the successful business people do, is they immediately ask their customers before they invest time and money.
So
and
you
waste the time and money.
You did the same thing.
Yes.
Before to write a book.
Now with books, what I would do is I would create seminars. And I would give seminars to public audiences. I have spoken to more than 5 million people. And I read about 3 hours each day.
Wow.
Sometimes more, but an average of 3 hours each day for 50 years.
A lot of books.
A lot of books.
I saw a lot of books in your house.
Well, I have written 60 books. This year I am publishing 8 books. 8 books this year alone. But I write 4 or 5 books each year, all different subjects. And I can write a book from my memory because I have spent so many hundreds and thousands of hours reading and researching and teaching. So then I think, that would make a good book. And I will sit down and I will outline the book. I have a system. And then I will submit the proposal to publishers. I will say, I have an idea for this book. If I write this book, would you be interested in publishing this book? And if no one says no, if no one says yes, then I won't write it. But sometimes they'll say yes, that is a good subject. And so I'll write the book and they will publish it and it will be published worldwide. I have in my mind, I have 3 or 4 book ideas, and every one of them will be published worldwide. I will write the book, and next year it will be worldwide.
It's great. I love that.
Yeah.
I would love to know. You have a book called Maximum Achievement.
Yes.
And I love this title. And
yes.
What are the keys to? What are the keys of maximum achievement?
Well, the book is probably the best book ever written that covers the entire subject of personal success. It basically starts off with yourself. Is your level of self-esteem, which translates into your level of self-confidence, is the starting point of success. If you like and respect yourself, you will set big goals for yourself. And if you like and respect yourself, you will persist longer, and you'll eventually succeed. And so how you feel, your emotions about yourself, is the starting point and the most important part of success. And so the goal of children, the goal of parents, is to raise children with high levels of self-confidence and self-esteem. Your goal as an adult is to build your own self-esteem, your own mental fitness.
Yeah.
Like physical fitness requires physical exercise, mental fitness, feeling very positive about yourself and your life, requires mental exercise. Now, what I discovered, which was one of the most important things of all, is that self-esteem, the other side of self-esteem, is called self-efficacy, which is a word that means that you are good at what you do. So therefore, when you work to become better in your field, whatever you're doing, whether it's in school or in your job, you feel more confident and more positive about yourself. So the more you like yourself, the better you become. And the better you become, the more you like yourself. So you can actually get onto an upward spiral. Which brings us to your subject of success for young people. The key to success is very simple. I've written 2 books on this. Is you must become very good at doing something that is important and valuable to an employer. You must become very good at it. There are no successful people who are average. And it takes a long time to become very good at something. Even if it's to be a gardener, or an interviewer, or a speaker. It takes a long time to become good at it. But you must be determined from the beginning to work extra hours to become very good at the work that you do. If you do that, every door of opportunity will open for you. Your self-confidence will go up. People will admire you and respect you. Your employers will open doors for you. It's the most amazing thing. And yet only 10% of the population knows this. 80% of the population works for a while, according to research. They work to become okay at their work, and then they level off. And years go by and they never improve. They do their job just enough not to lose their job, unless, of course, there's a downturn in the economy. And they are the first ones that are let go from their company. So the top 10%, however, are constantly improving. Lifelong improvement, learning new things and becoming better. If you do that, you own the future. And if you don't do that, you're always a victim of rapid change.
So you build your self-esteem, your self-confidence, and you do the 10% more than the people to improving every day?
No, I say you try to join the top 10% of people who are constantly improving.
Yeah.
They never stop learning.
Okay.
So we say leaders are readers.
Yeah.
Leaders in every field are constantly reading and learning more about their field. But the natural tendency is for people to work and then level off and never improve.
Right.
80% of the population never improves.
Yeah. It's amazing.
Yes. And they don't understand because they're surrounded by people who are not improving either. And they think, well, this must be the way the world is. And so they feel out of control of their lives. They cannot earn more money. 80% of the population has no extra money. The amount that they earn, they spend to live. So they have no savings. They have no security because they don't earn enough. They're always paid only the minimum. But it's the top 20% of people who are paid more and more and more.
Wow. You say that the first step is to develop self-esteem and self-confidence.
Yes.
How to develop self-confidence and self-esteem?
Well, as I said before, one of the keys is to become very good at what you do. But what I teach is the importance of goal setting. Setting very clear goals, objectifs, and making plans to achieve the goals, and then working on those goals each day. Because when you are working toward a goal, your self-confidence goes up, your energy goes up, you actually become more intelligent, you have more self-esteem and self-confidence. So this feeling of forward movement is one of the most important success secrets in the world. Successful people are always moving toward something important to them. And the feeling of movement makes them happy. It releases endorphins in your brain, which cause you to be more creative, more positive, stronger, more powerful.
So the first step to build self-confidence is to set a goal.
Set goals.
Take actions to go.
And work every day toward the achievement of your most important goals.
Great. Some people have fears to take actions, for example. They write their goals, but they don't take actions. So according to you, why and how to help them to take actions?
Well, there's no easy answer.
Yeah.
most people, the bottom 80%, are lazy. And it's something that it's not polite to talk about. But most people are lazy. And they're looking for an easy way. They're looking for a shortcut to be successful. And there aren't any. But if you do something repeatedly over and over, you develop a habit. So most people are in the habit of looking for easy ways to get the things they want. And they're surrounded by people who think the same way. You know, as much as 95% of your thinking is determined by the people that you associate with on a regular basis. If you associate with people who don't work hard, don't learn, socialize after work, then you become like them. You think like them, you talk like them, you dress like them, you marry them, and so you're married to someone who also has no ambition. And you raise children, and your children have no ambition. Just go to work and complain about your work. But top people associate with other top people. There is what you've heard about the law of attraction. And the law of attraction says that if you change the way you think, you start to attract new people into your life. If you become aggressive about personal development and personal growth, you start to meet other people who think the same way. And the old groups of people that you associated with fall away, and the new group of people appears. So people say, well, where do I find positive people who are thinking about success all the time? First you become one, and then you will naturally attract it.
Okay, it's a great answer.
Yeah.
I would love to know your point of view, because there is a lot of amazing books like yours, like Napoleon Hill's books, Unlimited Power, and there is a lot of seminars also. And I would like to understand why some people have the books, follow the seminars, have the keys, have everything to succeed, and continue to struggle and don't succeed.
Because they don't apply them. They do not practice the things that they learn. And success is very simple. If you have a clear goal, and I teach this, be clear about the most important goal in your life, the goal that could help you the most if you achieved it. When you're young, it's usually a financial goal, but it may be a health goal or a business goal, a relationship goal. But be clear about your most important goal, and then make a plan to achieve it, and then do something, at least one thing each day, that moves you one step closer to your most important goal.
Maybe a small things, but you do it.
Just a small step. And the best is to do it first thing each morning. Start your day by doing something that moves you toward your most important goal. Now the second thing I say is that in order to achieve a business goal, you have to become excellent at something. And it's usually not very much. There's usually about 2 or 3 skills that you need to be at the top in your field, in any field. And so you ask yourself, if I was excellent in one skill, what skill would help me the most to achieve my most important goal?
Yeah, it's great.
And so you set that as a goal as well. So now you have the two, the goal and the skill, which are like a railroad car, they're locked together. Is as you work to become better in that skill, you start to achieve your goal faster.
Yeah.
As you achieve your goal faster and you become better, your self-confidence goes up. Your self-esteem goes up. You become internally motivated and driven to do more. Now the biggest enemy of success, I would say there's probably 3 enemies of success.
Yeah.
The first big enemy is the comfort zone. is like you've come all the way from Paris to San Diego and gotten in touch with Dennis Waitley and me and other people. Well, that's a very big thing because we are very busy. We don't usually do interviews because we simply do not have the time. But you wrote to us, you followed up, you were very aggressive, you were very polite, and Dennis recognized, as I recognized, that you are a special kind of person. And so therefore we made time for you. We charge a lot for our time. People pay us a lot for our time. So we make time for you because you had a very clear goal and you knew what you needed to do and you began to take the steps day by day. And what you have been able to achieve in interviewing these people and myself is very good, very admirable. But it wasn't by accident, and it wasn't because it was easy.
No,
it's not easy. And then you did your planning, and you came here, and you got organized. And so you've done a wonderful job. It means that you have a lot of great success qualities. But the comfort zone is where people become comfortable doing what they're doing, and they don't like to change. So there's tremendous resistance to change in our society. 80% of the population finds reasons not to change, even if the change can be positive or beneficial. The second thing that holds people back is what is called learned helplessness. This is where people feel, I can't do it. I cannot make a change because of the economy, because of the world, because of my company, because of my childhood. They are always thinking about excuses or reasons why they cannot change, why they cannot do something new or different. And the third enemy is what we call the path of least resistance, which is always looking for an easy way to achieve a result. But nothing worthwhile can be achieved easily. Everything worthwhile requires a long period of hard work with many failures along the way. I can guarantee that many people who you asked for interviews told you no. They did not have time, they were too busy, they were not in town, or they weren't interested, or many of them did not even reply. You
Yeah.
sent them emails, they did not even reply. Well, so what do? Do you become discouraged? Do you quit? No, you just persist. You just persist, and then someone says yes, and someone else says yes. I'll tell you a quick story.
Yeah, I love stories.
I've written books on time management.
Yeah.
And my books on time management are some of the best selling in the world in 42 languages. Very successful. Anyway, about 5 years ago, I got a letter from a woman, and she was writing a book on time management. And she said, would I write a testimonial for her book? And I said, of course. I read her book, read the manuscript, good ideas. So of course, I will help. So I wrote a nice testimonial. And she wrote back and said, thank you very much. I was so happy to receive it. And I did not hear from her for about 3 or 4 years. And then she wrote back to me and she told me her story. She had spent 5 years teaching time management and then writing this book and then trying to get the book published. And she had an agent and she went to every publisher and they all said no, 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 no. And she had decided to give up. And then she received my testimonial in the mail saying, this is a really good book, you should read this. So she took this to her agent, her literary agent, who took it to the publisher. And the publisher said, if Brian Tracy says it's a good book, I will publish it. She published the book, it became a top seller, changed her life completely. She has now written 3 other books that have been published because the first book was successful. She said, the day that I received your testimonial, I was going to quit because I had tried for so long and was unsuccessful, and I received that, and it changed my life.
I love this story.
Yes. You never know how one act of persistence can be what breaks through. You never know which one it will be. So you find successful people just always persist because it could be just one more. Just be one more.
Maybe it's the next step.
Yes.
I love this idea.
Yes.
I love that. You have a book, and I love this title. You are crazy to do that. Eat the frogs, and
Yes.
I would like to talk about that. But before, I would like to know when you have this title in mind. It's a crazy title, and it's not easy to understand what you mean when you just have the title. And did you have some doubt about this title?
No, actually, this title was came from my reading, and it came from a story which is explained in the book from about 1884, where Mark Twain said, if the first thing you do in the morning is you eat a live frog, you will have the satisfaction of knowing that that's the worst thing that can happen to you all day long, is eating a live frog. Well, the live frog is your biggest and most important task. And if you start every day by doing your biggest and most important task completely, then you start your day off with tremendous energy. And all day long, you will be more productive. All day long, your mind will be sharp. You'll have more energy. So my book is called 21 Great Ways to Stop Procrastinating and Get More Things Done Faster. Anyway, Eat the Frog was a chapter in my book, which was called like Time Management or Double Your Productivity. And I sent it to the publishers, and the publishers went through it and they said, this title would be the perfect title for the book. If you could make this the title and then run the idea of eating the frog through the book, then we'll publish it. It became the best-selling book in the history of this publishing company, the best-selling time management book in the world, now, all over the world. And it literally changes people's lives forever.
Yeah,
and it was just that one idea is pick your most important task, like your most important goal that you work on each day. Pick your most important task and complete it first thing in the morning.
Yeah, I love that because it is a metaphor, and you can't not remember that. And so, do you suggest to maybe to write a book with a kind of metaphor?
Well, it's interesting. I have a friend who teaches a 3-hour course on title selection.
Wow.
And he brings students live in a room and also online. And he'll spend 3 hours with them just working on title selection. Because his philosophy, and he's a very successful author, is that the title is the key, it's the hook that makes the book sell. And so people will spend 3 hours going through and asking questions, what would be the best title? They say you cannot tell a book by its cover, but the title of a book will often get you a publishing agreement if the title is strong enough. So, for example, I wrote another book last year called Kiss That Frog. And Eat That Frog is time management. Kiss That Frog means dealing with negative events in a positive and constructive way. Because the greatest single obstacle to success and happiness in life is negative emotions, negative experiences that a person continues to think about. So how do you stop thinking about negative experiences? Kiss That Frog is 12 ways to overcome negatives and become completely positive. It's very powerful.
Yeah.
And so it comes from the fairy tale of the princess in the woods who kisses the frog, who turns into a handsome prince. So that's the metaphor, is that sometimes your worst experiences can be the handsome prince that changes your life, if you can learn from those experiences.
It's great. I love that.
Yeah.
I would like to have your point of view about you have children and you have grandchildren.
Yes.
Imagine that this video will be watched by your grandchildren. What could be the life lessons you would like to share to them if they are 18 years old? And imagine that you are speaking to them. What could be the life lessons you would like to share to them with your huge experience?
Well, one of the greatest obstacles to success is self-doubt, is we doubt ourselves. We think maybe I'm not smart enough, or maybe I'm not old enough, or experienced enough, or educated enough. And so self-doubt holds people back. Now, the reverse of self-doubt is self-confidence. So what I tell my children and my grandchildren is, first of all, you have unlimited abilities. You can do anything. You can learn anything you need to learn. You can achieve any goal you can set for yourself. But I also say you are a thoroughly good person. You are a very good person, and you must never doubt yourself. No matter how many problems you have in life, hold on to that. So my 4 children were here this weekend because it's Father's Day, and they wrote me little cards. And every one of the little cards they wrote said, thank you for always telling me how good I was, and always believing in me, and always reminding me how excellent I was as a person. And all 4 of them are positive and happy and self-confident. Now they have children, and they're doing the same things to their children, and they're raising their children so their children are full of self-confidence as well.
Great.
Always tell your children that you are really good children, and always tell yourself that you are a very good person.
And you are saying something very interesting, because you are not only saying, oh, it's good what you are doing, but you are.
Yes.
You are also.
You are a thoroughly good person.
One of my goals is to build a one-year school for students between 18 years old and 20 years old, because I was shy and I had a lack of self-confidence. And let's consider we build the program together.
Yes.
In this 1 year, I would like to give them, or to help them to have, the foundation of the happiness and success.
Yes.
What you should do in this 1 year to help youth to grow and have the foundation to become not only successful with money, but successful in every field.
Well, it's interesting. In psychology, there is an expression called a sense of control. And people are happy when they feel they are in control of their lives. And people are unhappy when they feel they're out of control or controlled by other circumstances. So if I was to teach a course, and I have designed this in my mind many times, I would call it Success 101, a one-year course on success. The starting point would be to teach people to set goals. Setting goals is the master skill of success because from it, everything else is possible. And they can be personal goals, financial goals, but teach them how to set goals. And we have, I know you know I've written books on this subject, and I have courses. So learn how to set goals first day. What are your goals for this week, this month, this year, 5 years? Where do you want to be in 10 years? You can change as you get new information, but start off with an idea of where you're going. And then make plans to achieve the goals. And then organize the plans. And this is all in my system, my goal setting system. Now, each day you plan your day in advance and you use your time and you work on achieving the goals that are important to you. You set priorities and you do things of high value rather than things of low value. You see, when you're doing things of high value, things that are moving you towards something that you want, you feel happy. When you're doing things of low value or no value, you feel angry. And so you find much negativity comes from not being productive. People feel that they're just not using themselves very well. Another thing that I would teach people has to do with self-confidence. And I have what is called a speaking academy, where I will take 12 people every 3 months, and I will teach them in 3 days how to speak, how to give a talk, how to take any subject, design a talk, and get up and give an effective talk, short or long. And we use video cameras to play it back, and we have a system. And it's amazing because people come in at one level mentally, and they go out at this level in terms of self-confidence. They are unbelievable. They can be shaking or nervous at the beginning of this 3-day program. At the end of the 3-day program, they are amazing. They have so much confidence. And 3 months later, when you meet them, they're still the same. They've actually, like a chick coming out of an egg that breaks out of the egg and becomes a bird, well, they actually break out to a new level and they never go back. So one of the things that young people should be taught is how to speak in front of others. And the way that you do that is you just have them speak over and over to other people and get feedback.
During 1 year, they speak often.
Every once a week, maybe twice a week, you have a speaking class. And they prepare and they give their talk. It has an opening, a development, and a close. It can be 1 minute, or it can be 3 minutes, or 5 minutes, or longer. But they get into the habit of standing up and speaking on a subject. And what happens is, like the chick coming out of the egg, all of their self-doubt disappears. And what is left is self-confidence. And this spreads into every part of their lives. The other thing that I would teach is selling, the ability to sell.
Sell yourself and sell your ideas.
Well, learn how to sell yourself, but learn how to sell a product or a service. You see, the ability to sell gives you tremendous confidence, and it opens every door for you. And everybody is in sales of some kind. You have les vendeurs, they have the salespeople who sell a product or service. But you also have business people, lawyers, doctors, parents, who are persuading. So selling is basically the profession of persuasion, where you persuade people to do things in a very positive way. And it is an art. It's very much like cooking in the kitchen. Is just because you have all the right ingredients in the kitchen does not mean that you can cook. So it's learning how to sell, and I teach this, and I've taught
you
this.
have a great book also.
I have several books, and I have taken people who are starting at the bottom, and they've become rich because they learned how to sell. And the more they sold, the more confident they become, and the more persuasive they were, the more effective they were, the higher was their self-confidence, the higher their self-esteem. And today, I have friends who own 10 and 12 companies who at one time could not sell anything. And I taught them how to sell. And today, they're rich and powerful and famous. The ability to sell, to persuade is so important for success. So if you combine goals and time management and continuous improvement, along with learning how to speak and learning how to sell, which go together, in 1 year you can take a person and transform them into
Yeah.
a very positive, confident, successful person for the rest of their lives.
Yeah, and if they do that at the age of 18, it's a great gift.
Oh, it's wonderful.
Yeah, thank you very much. You have awesome answers, and it's great. It is one of my favorite projects, and it will make a difference in the life of people, and I will do that. And thank you very much. So, Brian, I have a serious questions for you. I would love to help people to become losers, and I come to you to have advice to do that. Do you have some tips to become a loser?
Absolutely. First of all, only do the very minimum at your work. Never offer to do anything more.
Okay.
Just do the minimum. Come to work at the last minute and leave at the first minute, and waste as much time as possible during the day talking to your friends. That's the first way. And do personal business on your cell phone and telephone and computer. Just waste as much time as possible.
Oh yeah.
Second of all, don't have any goals for the future.
No good.
Because if you have no goals, then you have no direction and you have no future. And you will always have to do what other people with goals tell you to do. So you'll always be a lower person taking orders from people who have goals.
Wow.
The third thing that you can do to be a loser is be very poor at your work and never improve. Do only the amount necessary not to be fired. And never become known as being good at your work. So always be one of the lowest level contributors to your work. Another is complain about your boss and your company and your coworkers all the time.
And the society.
Yes, always complain about how they're no good and how they're holding you back and how the reason you're not successful is because of politics and personalities. Another would be to not manage your time well.
Okay.
Is never do anything of value. Is never plan your days. Just do whatever happens during the day. One of the very best ways to be a loser is to be critical.
Oh.
Criticism of yourself, but especially criticism of others, is the fastest way to destroy human relationships. So you will never have any good friends. You'll never have good relationships. If you have children, your children will never be happy. Your spouse will never be happy, and nobody will like you.
That's great.
Yes. So those are some really, really good ways to be a loser.
Yeah, I think you have a lot of advice, so you have to write a book. It's a great question. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
I will apply that. A more serious questions, because I want to the people they listen your expertise about that. What could be the main things we have to keep in mind to be a good seller?
Well, the most important thing is to think about what the other person needs, what the other person wants and needs. It's interesting, when you study the mindset of successful business people, they are focused on the customer and how can they help the customer improve their life with their product or service. They believe in the goodness of their product or service, whether they're selling vitamins or cell phones or home furnishings. They believe that these are good products and that if you have them, your life will be better. And they use the products themselves, and they would sell them to their mother or their father. And so they're always thinking, how can I help you to improve your life in some way? Now, because everyone is skeptical, and because the average person in France or the US receives 3,000 to 5,000 commercial messages, advertisements of some kind each day, everywhere. People are skeptical, so you have to break through that skepticism. And the way you do that is you think, what is it that my potential customer really needs and wants to improve their life? What are the problems that they have that my product can solve? What are the needs that they have that my product can satisfy? What are the goals that they have that my product can help them to achieve? And then you say to them, if you have this problem or need, my product or service is something you should look at, and let me explain to you why it can help you. That's how you sell. You sell by teaching, by finding people who can benefit from your product or service far more than the cost, and then you teach them how your product or service can help them to improve their life.
It's great. It's short, accurate. I love that. About public speaking, what are the main things you learned with your huge experience about public speaking? I am a speaker in France, and I will become a speaker in English also. It is one of my goals. I will do it in 1 month or 6 months. I don't know. But what could be the best advice you could give me to become one of the best speaker in the United States?
Well, first of all, speaking is a craft. It's like carpentry or surgery. There's process and system to it. And I've studied this system and taught this system for more than 30 years. And so study the subject. Read books on how to speak and listen to audio programs on how to speak. And then practice and practice and practice. The key to public speaking is to connect with your audience and realize that it's not about you, it is about your audience. And so you have to ask, who is my audience? I do about 80 to 100 speeches each year, anywhere from 1 hour to 3 days. And so my first question is, who is going to be in the audience? What is their work? What is their income? What is their education? What is their family status? What are their hopes? What are their goals? What are their dreams? Because you want to, like a plug, connect with how the audience is thinking and feeling. When you open a speech, and I teach this, but when you open a speech, you always open it by making a statement that tells people that this is the right place for them to be. So, for example, when I speak to sales audiences, I'll say that top salespeople earn far more on average than average salespeople. And sometimes one additional skill can help you to dramatically increase your income. How many people here would like to double their income?
Raise your hand.
Hey, raise your hand. Everybody in the room raises their hand. I said, good. Then if you will listen to me, I will give you several proven ways in the course of today to double your income. They're guaranteed to work, they cost nothing, and they have been proven by thousands and thousands of other people. Would that be a good use of our time today, if I were to give you several ways to double your income? Everybody says yes. I said, good, then let's begin. And that's how we begin a one-day sales seminar. And I have their complete attention all day. And then everything that I teach, I say, now, here's the starting point. And I show that this is the starting point, this is the next stage. These are the things that you can do at each stage to dramatically increase your effectiveness, to get better appointments, to make better relationships, to understand the customer situation better, to make better presentations, use your time better, and so on. So I keep linking back into increasing your sales and increasing your personal income. And this will help you, and this will help you, and this will help you. And at the end of the day, I almost always get standing ovations. After 7 hours of speaking, I get standing ovations. And they're not cheering me, they're cheering themselves. They're applauding for themselves because, wow, they're saying, I can use these ideas. I am happy. And they are eager to go out and use these ideas.
Great.
So in my speaking academy, I teach people how to do a 3-minute talk.
Wow.
And a 3-minute talk has a very simple formula. You open with a strong statement that grabs people's attention.
A question?
A question or a statement. You could say, for instance, sometimes I will say, 20% of, I'm speaking to business owners in one of my business programs. 20% of businesses in every industry earn 80% of the profits in that industry. Every business starts at the bottom, and then some businesses do certain things that get them into the top 20%. What I like to do is show you how your business can be in the top 20% of profit earners in your industry. Would that be a good goal for today?
Yeah.
Absolutely. And if you're in the top 20%, then I'll show you how to get into the top 10% or the top 5%, using methods and techniques that have been used by tens of thousands of businesses worldwide. They're guaranteed to work. It's like 2 and 2 is 4. If you do this and this, you get this result. So let's begin. So that's how I would start a 2 or 3 day seminar. Now everybody knows the theme of the seminar, and they know that everything that we teach is linking back to
This
getting them
goal.
into the top 20% of business profitability, because business owners are concerned about profitability. That is the major
Main.
focus of a business owner. And it's the same with you and I. We're both business owners. We think, is how can I take my ideas, my services, and make them profitable? Because we want to have a good life. We want to eat nice foods and wear nice clothes, drive a nice car. We want to help other people, but we don't want to starve at the same time. We say we want to do well by doing good. We want to do well for ourselves by doing good for others. And so the second part is then you tell your own story. I didn't know, this is what I would say. When I started my first business, I didn't know any of the things I'm going to teach you today. And you know what? I almost went bankrupt. I lost my house, I lost my car, I lost all my money because I had no idea how hard it was to start a business. I thought it's a very easy thing. So everything that I'm going to teach you is things that I have learned. And sometimes I will spend more time talking about, I tried different forms of sales, advertising, products, people, money, loans, every mistake that you could possibly make. And everybody in the room is going,
He knows me.
yeah, they've all done the same thing. And then you shift, and in a short talk, this all can be done in 3 minutes, 3 to 5 minutes. In the short talk, you say, there's 3 key points I want to share with you now. And these, if you will follow these 3 key steps, you will be able to start moving your business into the top 20%. And then you go kaboom, 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 and develop the 3 points, and then you close. And you say, these 3 points will only work if you work. They will get you results if you apply them over and over again. So promise me that when you leave here today, you'll take the first action and try it, whichever one of these points you think can help you the most. Promise? This is. You just done your talk in 3 minutes.
It's great.